Hello and welcome to the second part of our setting up a VPC tutorial. In this video we're going to look at launching some EC2 instances within the VPC and seeing how the network traffic routes out to the internet via the internet gateway and the NAT gateway. Let's get started. Okay, so we're where we left off. The next place we're going to go is to services and then EC2. And then we're going to go to instances. Okay, and we're going to click on launch instance. So we're going to select some free tier eligible ones. So let's just select the top Amazon Linux 2 AMI. And then we're going to select the free tier eligible EC2 instance. And for network, we're going to select our new VPC and we're going to select EUWIST 1A public. This is the option we set on the last video where we have our auto assigning public IP addresses, and we're just going to leave that as enabled, and then we're going to leave all the other options as they are. Next we have our storage, so 8 GB is enough for our Linux instance. Any tags that we might have, so let's create a new tag and we're going to call that name, and we're going to call it our tutorial public instance. And security groups. So here we can see we're going to create a new security group. So tutorial public, and our security group is going to say our SSH. We can SSH into this instance, and then we're going to hit launch. So it needs a key pair. So we're going to create a new key pair, and we're going to call this Marty tutorial, or whatever your name is. And what we're going to use this for is signing into the EC2 instance. So what you just noticed is we didn't put any passwords or anything in. This is where the key pairs come into it. So we're going to download this and we're going to launch our instances. So we have our PEM here. Okay, so while our instance launches, if you're using Linux, it's quite simple to SSH. You just use the PEM and you do SSH -i martytutorial.pem and then your EC2-user at your instance IP address. On Windows it's slightly different. You have to use putty and then puttygen to convert your private key. So we're going to do that now, as most of you might be using Windows. Let's do that. So we're going to download putty, and then we're going to follow the tutorial on the EC2 documentation that's in the link below. So we're going to start our putty, and hopefully this will install all the files we need. And then when we search for puttygen, we have our putty and our puttygen. We have our key here. Okay, and then under the type of key to generate, choose RSA, and then we're going to load from our downloads all files and our martytutorial.pem. There you go. So it's imported a foreign key, and we need to save it. So it says choose save private key to save the format in something that putty reach. So save private key, and for now we're just going to leave it without a pass phase. Yes, and then we're going to save it. Let's save it to our desktop. I'm going to say this is Marty tutorial. Okay, so now we have our private key set. We can start our putty session. So let's launch putty. So let's scroll down to putty. Okay, and then let's put that over there. Okay, so here we have our putty configuration and our launch wizard. If we click view instances, we can see our instance has started. it has a public IP address, it has a private IP address in the subnet we specified, and we can go ahead and SSH to it. So let's take our public IP address, we're going to put that in there, and then we need to select our authentication. So we're going to go SSH auth, and then we're going to select our private key file. So we put that on our desktop, and it's called multi-tutorial. So that's what will authenticate us to SSH into the instance. And then we have our hostname here. So we're going to hit open, and this is just to say, like, I've never seen this host before. Is it okay? Yes, it is. And it's going to ask us to log in. So let's log in, and for Amazon Linux it's EC2-user. And there you go. We're logged into our instance, as you can see here. This is our Amazon EC2 instance in our newly created VPC. So let's try and access the internet and see what IP address we actually appear from. So there's a good website called IPify, and this allows us to run a command, this one here, and it will return our IP address to us. So let's pop that into here. So that was just copying it and right-clicking, and then we can run this. And here we go. So our returned IP address is 54.194.95.7. So if we click here, 54.194.95.7, and that's what we expected, because this instance is in a public subnet, and it's going via the internet gateway, which is doing the translation for us, and then going out to the internet. So let's have a look in more detail how that works. Okay, so we have our EC2 instance here, and this has an IP address of our 10.10.0.89. Okay, and this is in our private subnet, sorry, our public subnet. We then have our internet gateway over here. So our internet gateway, when we assign a public IP address to a host, is going to keep a mapping. It's going to say 10.10.0.89 is mapped to our public IP address. So that was 54.194.95.7. So this is essentially our NAT, and it's going to say that any traffic from this instance is going to be mapped to this IP address, and this is kind of where the internet comes into it. So it's going to go via our router, and our router is going to say, okay, you want something on the internet, so we're going to say 0.0.0.0/0 is going to go to our internet gateway, and it's going to forward that traffic onto our internet gateway. Our internet gateway is going to say, okay, you're 10.10.0.89, brilliant, and we know from the EC2 console that you are assigned this public IP address. And so the internet gateway is going to do our NAT mapping, and then any traffic that appears on this side of the network is going to be this IP address. So that's going to go off to our AP, it's going to go off to our IPify service on the internet somewhere, and then when it comes back, it's going to come back with this public IP address. The internet gateway is going to map it to our essentially our private network VPC address, which is then going to send it back. It's going to hit our router. Our router is going to say, okay, you're for 10.10.0.89, you need to go to this subnet, and it's going to send it back to our EC2 instance. So that's our public EC2 instance, and that's essentially how it works. Everything within the VPC is private IP address space. That's quite crucial to people's understanding. Sometimes it's gets a bit confusing if you think, oh, but how's this public IP address routing in my private space? It's not. It's all on the internet gateway, and it just provides this mapping. So if we launch another instance, say 10.10. It would be like a 2.39. That might be assigned a different public IP address, right? And that's how the internet gateway kind of works. Okay, so in the next video, we'll set up a private instance and see how that kind of works, and kind of how it reacts to our IPFI testing. Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you found the video helpful. If you haven't already, please give the video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below for some more great content on AWS, 3D printing and home automation.